Hi, this is Pablo Herrera. In this video, we're going to look at automating the invoice generation in Salesforce Billing using invoice schedulers. Salesforce Billing allows you to create an invoice manually from a single order using the Bill Now checkbox located in the order record. You can also automate the invoice creation process with an invoice scheduler. So the invoice schedulers evaluate unbilled order products based on user-defined criteria and then create an invoice with invoice lines for each matching order product. Now let's go ahead and create an invoice scheduler record. So the high-level process for invoicing automation will start by selecting the type of the invoice scheduler. Now we're going to name this invoice scheduler one-time invoicing. The type field defines the time frame for your invoice run. It can be daily, weekly, monthly, or just once. Depending on the type field, you can configure, let's say, a weekly invoice automation. So this will ask you for your invoice day of week. Number 1 means Sunday, and then it goes on. The same for target day of week. Now the date configuration, we're going to start by setting up the target date. So let's say target date is the 30th of June. What the target date defines is what is going to get billed on the invoice. It's the day you're simulating the billing process. So we're going to the order that we're going to invoice. We check on the order products. The next billing date of each order product defines if it is going to get inside the invoice. So the next billing date for headphones and microphones are for June 8th. So this will be inside the target date. But the next billing date for the speaker order product is the 22nd of July. So it won't be on the invoice we will be automating. The invoice date field defines the start date for the invoice record. Also, depending on the invoice date, the due date will be calculated depending on the payment terms of the order, which is 30 days. So I guess the invoice due date will be around 31st of July or 1st of August. The start date time field is the hour and the date in which the invoice record will be created. Besides the automation, one of the main advantages of the invoice scheduler is the ability to group them with the invoice batch field. So we'll select the Soundtech batch, which is the company we're creating the invoice automation for. And we'll match this field on the order record for the invoice batch field, which is also Soundtech batch. Now there's a checkbox called automatically post invoices. If we check this field, the invoices will be generated with a status set to posted. Posted invoices will be ready for revenue recognition reporting. Otherwise, your invoices would be generated as drafts. I wouldn't advise doing this at the very beginning of the implementation, since we have to build some trust on the setup first. Once you feel more comfortable with the invoicing system, then you could use this functionality with a little more trust. Now, when your invoice scheduler hits its start date time field, it creates an invoice run. So Salesforce Billing stores invoice run criteria as a record in the invoice scheduler's invoice run related list. Now we can see that the invoice run progress bar is 100%, which means that its status is already completed. So the invoice is generated. Before checking on the invoice, we'll see which criteria needs to be filled by the invoiceable order products. So they must be activated. The next billing date must be before invoices runs target date, as we already discussed. Hold billing field is set to no, and the billing rule has a yes value on generate invoice field. So if we take a look on the invoice, we'll see that the only invoice lines that were created were the ones that the order product's next billing date was inside the invoice scheduler target date, which is headphones and microphones. We can also see that the status is in draft, it's not posted, and the due date and the invoice date was calculated based on our invoice scheduler criteria. So I guess this is it. You have any questions, please go in the comments, and thank you very much.